Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, in talking with some of the people that I rely on for some of the information for these reports, I've realized that there's fisheries out there that we're not taking advantage of. And one of them is carp fishing. You know, when the St. Lawrence County Chamber years ago was heading up this all their junior carp tournaments, I became involved with them. And I was fascinated on how carp can have such a big impact on the kids. First of all, they're huge fish, but that type of fishing requires very specific type of rods with counters and ticks, sounds that they emit, and bait of all kinds of flavors that is very special to this. But in talking to some of the guides I've been talking to, namely Aaron Hardy and Rocky Rockwell, they tell me that that carp will respond to flies and fly fishing, and this is one of the ways that they're expanding into. Aaron's telling me that this is a goal of his, to be able to offer people in the Massena area, well, actually any place along the St. Lawrence, to go out there and get a chance to fish for these fish in a very sporting way by casting with a fly rod. A little fly that, you know, carp feed on things like this. They don't hit lures. They don't respond to the ways that most of our sport fishing techniques go out for bass and so forth. But to hook into a carp is an incredible thing on a fly rod. Oh my gosh. And I talked to my buddy Rocky down on the Salmon River in Pulaski, and he said that right now carp and big suckers enter the river. And this is one of the sports that he offers to people that want to get to fish that river, is using anything, he says, like black flies or woolly buggers are great for this kind of fishing. So it's something I don't think we really talk about enough, or we even get out there and explore enough. Recently I was fishing for northern pike with my buddy Rust, and we cast up to the edge of these reeds, and he says, I've got one. This one feels really big. And he says, can you follow it with our boat? Can you please get in there closer? And our boat was nothing but a motorized canoe. And so that he had hooked into the side of a carp. And the battle he had was something he'd never had a fish that big in his life. And we followed that carp around for ages, and finally it got tired, and he'd hooked it on the edge of its fin. Basically snagged it, but not intentionally. And that's the type of battle and the experience that a carp can bring. And then you bring the carp in and you say, oh, it's nothing but a carp. But for fishermen around the rest of the world, carp are their main game fish in most parts of the world. They're the biggest sport fish category there is. So I think we really have this fishery here, which could be tremendous. And to be able to go out and catch these fish on a fly. And my buddy Rocky was telling me that also he used to fish in Black Lake with a fly rod for gar, and in the spring they spawn too. And he says they will hit flies. You know, the gar are formidable looking fish, but you can't go out there and fish with them with a plug. They're not going to hit. Their mouths are actually as formidable as their long snouts, with massive numbers of razor-sharp teeth. He says you can't really penetrate that mouth very easily, except with a very little hook. And again, he said this is a great sport, fishing for gar with fly rods. So this is something I want you to realize. We have all these fish. We have all these species are part of our great fishery here that we promote primarily for bass. But we have all this, and it's something that maybe we can get into more. I'm going to research this further, but I think being able to go fly fishing for carp would be a fantastic experience. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.